Hello, everyone. I hope you're all fine. And I'm very sad that you're not here in Copenhagen together with me. Here in Copenhagen in May, the best time of the year where everything is light and people are smiling also because of now the summer is approaching. But I hope you are all well where you are, and hopefully you are avoiding the effects of the coronavirus where you stay, and please take care. And I'm sure that we're not going to contaminate each other through these sessions. My name is Jan Ole Hogensen, and I will be your lecturer here in comparative politics, theory, methodology, and practice. And here I'm based in Denmark. In fact, I'm sitting in the office of CIEE, and we're only two in the office, and regrettably, otherwise it's very empty. And to give you a hint of where we are, then in fact this is taken from the students' room in Copenhagen. That's the common room where people can sit and relax. And it's a fantastic office with a view to one of the main squares where there's always a lot of people walking around, and you can see a picture of it. But today there's nothing. It's a pedestrian street, one of the famous pedestrian streets in Copenhagen, even though there's a car on the picture. And otherwise you can see in this pictures from this room where I'm sitting now and looking at this square. So it's just to give you a small impression where we are. But before really we start the opening lecture, it's about presentation and organization of the course. The dates should be fixed now. Regrettably, there will be no visits, but I'll try to invite some people or some interviews, some specialists who can do some of the presentations. The syllabus may be adjusted online if something really important comes up, which is just where we say, this is just too important to miss. It's again, sometimes history is we are living in what is going to be remembered for many years. And that is particularly the case here during the coronavirus. So wherever there's some possibilities for involving this or integrating this, I will try to do it. Then it becomes much more real and not so distant or it's just history. In fact, we are living in historic times now. I never experienced things like that. The closest is, in fact, the oil crisis. But there was just problems in using the cars. But here is people have to stay at home. There will be 15 sessions, and you will have 48 hours to take the class and do the assigned task. It will be Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, except Friday the 24th of April and the 15th May. That's in week 6, the last week of the course. And I hope in week 6 and things have settled more down and we can start acting normal again. Hopefully there will be some normality where we in fact can also travel because that's almost impossible for the time being. I made it to the office because I have my bicycle, even though the metro and the buses, they go then, but it's very, very spooky because there's hardly any people in the metro and people are not talking. People are walking very quietly, and so no laughing or laughter in the street or something like that. Then in some of the main, I just mentioned before, some of the main topics, you will have some guest lecturers. And that will be some who are working in the field. And it's, of course, it's a poor replacement of that, in fact, that we were supposed to visit some of the places. One of them was the parliament, the Danish Parliament, which is a very nice old building, and where we should have met some of the politicians. But we'll find another way to do it. Then there'll be assignments also related to syllabus, and it should be able to see when this assignment is due. And I will tell you in beforehand what you have to do. And if you have any questions, you ask me. You contact me as soon as possible. Readings, you can find nearly all the readings in the hyperlink or in the files in Canvas related to the course. And I think one of the articles you have to sign up to, and then you can get, because it's coronavirus time, then you can get up to 100 free articles. But that's a very good place to be, because there's a lot of the availability is very big in relation to important literature for this field. But there are 5 textbooks that you'll have to find yourself. You will have to either the library of your institution or in another way. Then every time there will be some YouTube presentation. I will try to make them as brief as possible, because otherwise you will fall asleep. So normally it should be maximum 15 to 20 minutes of this presentation, and then there will be some sort of a assignment and interaction. And it will be, from my point of view, it will be a very poor replacement of, in fact, if it had been in, if you had been here. But we'll try to make the best out of it. And the assignments in Canvas in relation to the classes, you have to do them within the same 48 hours. And please don't wait to the last minute, because then you may be out of time in the end. And it's based on that, in fact, you will be graded for participation, because you cannot be graded in relation to participation due to present. And in there, I will try to change between discussions, debate, and quizzes. And I will try to do as much which will be interactive in that way, that you will request it to come with some questions or some answers, and then perhaps you will have some arguments, and then your classmates are strongly encouraged to comment on them. And perhaps in some of the times we can have in fact a debate, because very often there's not one truth, but there's many perspectives. And don't hold yourself back. And that will also be part of the, as I told you, be part of the grading. Then there will be some group and individual exercises that you will have to upload in Canvas. Submission of Google Docs is a no-go. I've been informed so many times, so don't do it. It will not be accepted. And some of the group individual exercises will be part of the syllabus, and other will be part of the classes. But I will inform you more about how it can be done or should be done. And then in the final sessions, we will have also some conclusive remarks and some feedback. So this is how the course has been designed. So I sent you a welcome announcement, and in there it's about uploading your picture. And I've also uploaded mine. It's a little bit different. If my haircut is a little special, it's because it's coronavirus time, and all the hairdressers, they have closed. So it's my wife, she had helped me with to take some of the gray hair away. Do a sincere self-presentation. So because we don't see you, we don't have so much informal interaction. So we would like to have some meat behind the picture. Who is this, the person? And that will be later in this session that you have to do that. So it's about you some of the time in the action. Again, it's about the joint discussions. Let's see whether we can make it as vivid as possible. And as I told you, I will try to hold at least one real-time class using Zoom at a decent time of the day. That means for all of you, so not only for me. So there will be one or twice where I will push my sessions to later in the day, and then I can manage to hit or reach some of you early in the morning, but not that early in the morning, not before 8 o'clock for you staying on the West Coast. But you will be informed more about that, and most of you have already submitted which time zones you are staying in. Thank you. Those who are missing, please send it as soon as possible. And then I put this is because I think in a way it's a very impersonal, and for me it easily become boring because I'm very much at this. I need the interaction. I need to see people, and then I need that quick responses and some sort of a ping pong, and to have a funny perspective. That I like that very much, but it's also, it eases very much, and it eases also the fear or the tension, and we put down our parade. And for me, it is really, I can just to look in the screen and then have the presentation. So please, I will try to do my best. And if you have some suggestion in this, in relation to this, please tell me. Come with them. I'm very open. And also because now in this time with this, with the coronavirus time, it is everything is so serious, and it can also become too serious, and we shouldn't forget to live also, even during the corona times. And contact information. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, or the like, you can contact me through Canvas. A few of you have already done it, and I think I have responded fairly quickly. But remember the time difference. You can otherwise find me through Skype. That's my Skype identity name. Or WhatsApp. That's my WhatsApp contact. If something is very important. And as I told you, my response time, I will try to do it as soon as possible. But bear in, oh, I didn't write that right. Bear in mind, Denmark is in UTC 1, Central European Time, so I'm 8 hours ahead of Colorado. So if you do it 6 o'clock in the evening, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I will not respond to you before later in the morning. So that was all about this, about the formality. Now it's about who am I? I think now I'm going to know who you are, then I'll tell you about me. Personal info, I'm married, 3 daughters. 2 of the daughters are old. One has given me a grandson, and then I have a smaller daughter also who soon to turn 6. Then I'm a Dane, even though ethnicity-wise I'm from Bornholm, which is You have to be in Denmark in order to understand it different. It's the only small rocky island in Denmark. The rest of the ground is chalk. We have our own dialect. We are closer to Sweden in geography, but in our mind, we are Danes. We are definitely not Swedes or German. It's also closer to Germany. And it's a very popular spot to go for holidays. And as you can see, we are very nationalistic from my island, but I think it's a positive nationalism. Then my education, I have my PhD in natural resource management, indigenous people. Undertook my thesis in relation to fieldwork in India. 1 year I stayed there in the central part of India, working in one of the poorest areas of India. And working with forest. But it was very interesting because in these forests there was no trees, because it was only on paper it was forest and under the forest department. But in reality, they had been cut years ago. And then I did my master studies in international development studies and human geography. And which, when I did my master thesis, I was 3.5 months field studies in Fiji. And I dealt with ethnic politics because I was there during the first military coup in the Pacific Islands. And so it was a very first-hand impression of what's happening in this tiny country of 800,000 inhabitants. And there I found out their democracy had been, for me, it was very complicated, but for the people living on the island, it was not that complicated, because that's how they had learned it, and they had that's how they also saw the society. So, but it's also about comparing about different democratic systems. After the coup, one can discuss whether democracy really had come back. In fact, they have had 2, if not 3 coups after that first coup. It's again, when you first start having these coups, then it's difficult to put Pandora back in the box. Then I have done twice fieldwork in Sri Lanka. The first time was in fact before the civil war, which lasted for more than 25 years. Sri Lankan government against Tiger, Tamil separatist. And that work was very much, it was so interesting to look back at, because I was in my second year in university, and we were some students saying, we made a report, and then the conclusion was that dark times were ahead. And then 1 month later, the civil war started. So sometimes it's difficult to do prognosis, and then you come very, very young and very, very blank, and then you see some things which those who have been living in it have been accustomed to many things they don't see. And then later on, I went to Sri Lanka for 3 months fieldwork, also to collect for my bachelor. Then when I finished, I've been fortunate to work for International Labour Organization, which is a UN specialist agency. I worked 2 years in the Philippines and 1 year in India with cooperatives and indigenous people. And I was very happy to work with that organization. At the time, it was a relative very efficient organizations. But it was also because sometimes politically controversial, because some of the countries at the time, the US, they didn't like, in fact, what the International Labour Organization was doing. International Labour Organization is a tripartite organization, so it's involving trade unions, employers, associations, and then the state. Yes, and then afterwards I was researching natural resource management and development research for 5 years in all, 4 years in total. where I dealt the time doing my PhD, but also doing other assignment and doing teaching of university students in relation to indigenous people and development. Then for many years, I was international director in Rehabilitation Research Center for Torture Victims, which had activities in 20 countries, which also had a rehabilitation center in Denmark. And there are some sister organizations, in fact, in the United States also, in many different of the states. The biggest one is, in fact, in Minneapolis, St. Paul. It is a center for the victims of torture, and they are also working abroad and doing a good job. So I was the international director there. Afterwards, I was executive director for Forests of the World, which is having research, or which is having activities in particularly Latin America, but also in Africa for the time being, in Central and Northern Africa. There, and we also had activities in Denmark in relation to work for biodiversity, people's involvement in protecting the areas, and preventing climate change. And now I'm working as a lecturer in international politics, and I'm also an international consultant, particularly for non-for-profit organizations or NGOs, due to my many years of experience. And in my spare time, I'm working as a president of a Danish NGO, which is having activities in Zimbabwe and Honduras. Yeah, and then privately, some of my time is playing football and basketball and organized in clubs and playing against other teams, where we play for winning the trophies every year. And this is also my therapy, because that's the way I'm relaxing and thinking about nothing else than winning together with my friends, my teammates. And therefore, for me, this also Corona time is terrible, because I don't have my therapy at this time. And I'm sure for many of you, it's also quite frustrating not being able to play games with others, except behind the screen. So now it's time for your intro. And I put some questions, some general questions. Where do you come from? Where do you study? Why this class? Name the interest. Name one interest in relation to this it's comparative politics. Why is comparative politics? What do you want to do when you have graduated from university? What is your dream in life? It may not be the same. Why did you choose Denmark? And then name at least one non-academic interest. It could be do sport. It could also be knitting. It can be whatever. And then you do the assignment in Canvas. You'll see the others after you have done it yourself. You're then free to comment, say hi or the like to your classmate. So this is from part of the introduction or joint introduction. This is the end of video 1. If I can stop it.